Oh, right. Shit. Forgot to fade that motherfucker out. We're on a Friday. Hey, what are you going to do? It's a Friday, September 19th. Sean and Spit of the Morning, episode 56, Shawnee, presented by Off Base Media. Not a lot of shit happened yesterday. It was a smaller slate Thursday. We haven't seen a little bit of movement in the standings. It's mostly on the AL West side. We got a tie for first, and the AL side is very close. And the craziest thing, I guess, standings-wise, playoff-wise, was the Cubbies become the most recent team to clinch. We'll talk about that. But the biggest story is from a guy that I think you heard of this guy, Sean. Have you heard of this guy? Clayton Kershaw?
Oh, maybe.
Announced his retirement. That might be the biggest story. That and the Cubbies. Plus, we got a whole lot more in store. But how are you feeling on a Friday?
I feel good, man. There should be 3 more series for each team left. Honestly, some teams could make this interesting. Some teams are going to make this not so interesting. But the one team that's making it real interesting, we'll talk about these guys later. We'll talk about Cleveland. We'll talk about the Astros. We'll talk about the Mariners, the Rangers, everybody a little bit later. On the NL side, you got the Diamondbacks and the Reds 2 games out on the Mets. So will the Mets met? We'll find out. It seems like the Mets always met. We're hoping the Mets met. That's a lot of Mets, but let's we'll find out. But first, we want to get into some good news before we start, Spin.
Yeah, let's get right into Clayton because that was the big news. I think it was announced yesterday, right? Announced his retirement at the end of the season. 18 years in the show, all with the Dodgers. Pretty special shit.
Yeah.
Especially when you could spend your whole career with one team. Always has a little extra juice to it, a little extra flavor. And the fact that he did it with such a prestigious organization for 18 years, pretty special stuff. I mean, he's got accolades out the ass.
Yeah, so, like, Clayton Kershaw obviously is probably – I mean, to be in his final year, Clayton Kershaw is 10-2 with a 3.53. How old is – like, how many years is this now?
This is his 18th – what's his age? 37 season.
And he's still doing it. Yeah, it's like the meme. It's like, oh, my uncle just woke up from a 15-year coma. Tell him Clayton Kershaw's still doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty unbelievable what Clayton's been doing. We'll probably have debates for the rest of our lives because we got to grow up at a time when we had, Roy Halladay, we had Max Scherzer, we had Justin Verlander, we had Clayton Kershaw as starting pitchers when we were younger. We'll probably be debating who was the best out of everybody for like a long time because all these people, and Clayton Kershaw probably gets brought up as the best pitcher from our time when we were younger.
Oh, okay.
And not like a lot of the times he's got, how many accolades does this guy have?
Well, I could read it for you. I haven't pulled up. I was going to say I'm Team Verlander though.
Yeah, I know your team. I mean, most people are Team Verlander, but I think Clayton Kershaw deserves his flowers in a lot of ways, though, too.
Absolutely. This guy, an MVP, Verlander is too, but of MVP, 3 Cy Youngs, same with Verlander. No, MVP, 3 Cy Youngs, a triple crown. I don't know if that holds as much weight for the pitching side of things, but still very impressive. 11-time All-Star. He wasn't All-Star this year. He did it from the, like the Legends vote or some shit, which is, we all, you got to respect that. He's a 2020 World Series champ, Gold Glove, 5-time ERA title, Player of the Year, Major League Player of the Year, and a Clemente Award. I think he got a ring from last year too, but it just doesn't register. Is that how that works? I don't know how this shit works.
I don't either, but he's a beast, dude. He's a beast.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's going to bite him in the ass always is the postseason stuff. That's what's going to suck, but either way.
One team for 18 years. Well, it's going to be hard to see that for a long time.
And, I got a trivia question for you about that stuff.
Okay.
I think the one thing that's like kind of going to really kill him is the postseason stuff. But I think he's cleaned it up. Maybe I don't know how the most recent starts were. I know for a little period of time it was like he's getting blown up in October, but maybe he's cleaned it up a little bit. I don't think he pitched at all in October last year, or maybe I don't think he did. He would have got a ring if he did, I guess. But either way, you get the point. He's a guy that, yes, one team for his whole career. And it kind of reminds me of like when I remember watching Jeter, because that was my guy, obviously. And Jeter had like this storybook, fairy tale career kind of where shit just kind of happened. It's like he's talking about his 3,000. Even just throughout his career, his 3,000 hit was a home run. His last hit at Yankee Stadium was like a walk off. Like that shit just kind of happened with Jeter. You're seeing the same shit with Kershaw, right? It's still one guy playing an entire career with a prestigious organization, and he's had like these storybook moments of his career. You can go back as long as you can remember with Kershaw. They were showing some stuff on MLB Network, and it's like, damn, like he's had like these moments. And I think that's part of it too. To a Hall of Fame career is like, yes, you have the accolades, the numbers, but you have these moments. And then the other thing is, I remember watching him get his 3,000 strikeout earlier this season. I thought that was a storybook type of thing. Like, you couldn't write a better script. The fact that Dave Roberts trusted his guy, left him out there because he was getting shelled a little, not shelled, but he was running into trouble, and he bared down, was able to get the strikeout at home, and then they were able to, I think it ultimately became a walk-off win for the Dodgers. They ultimately ended up winning that game. He didn't get a win in that. He got a no decision, but he was in line for a loss, I think, and they ultimately won that game at home in Kershaw. Now he does pitch this weekend. It might be his last start at Dodger Stadium. That I don't know for certain, but if it is, we've got to take extra. Now, all eyes will be on him regardless. We'll take extra note of that if that is his last start at Dodger Stadium.
I think one of the most impressive things about Clayton Kershaw is that he hasn't left the Dodgers, which sucks. Which sucks for me, but I hate because nobody likes the Dodgers. Who likes the fucking Dodgers? LA fans don't even like the Dodgers. But it's like we're gonna talk about it later, but there's not a whole lot of people that stick with the same team and have the amount of success that he did. Verlander's been on 4 or 5 different teams now.
4 I can think of.
Scherzer's been on 3.
No, Scherzer's been on 7.
6. Yeah, 6 actually.
Is it 6?
Yeah, well, Scherzer's been on more. Like, we see a lot of these guys and these prominent guys bounce around from team to team now. So to see a guy 18 years end with one team, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
And also, credit to him for waiting until the end of the year, so all lights weren't on him this whole entire time. Yeah. I do really, really respect that. That's a lot. That gives him a lot more juice in my eyes. Yeah, being honest.
That's a good point. He said something at his press conference. He was like, "Yeah, just get this off my chest, and we could just focus on the big picture and winning another ring." Because that's what Jeter one time. I've heard Jeter say this a few times because he announced it at the beginning of the year, and then he did like the farewell tour, and everybody was giving him shit. Jeter said that's the one thing he would do differently is that don't make it about him all the whole way through. I think even Peyton Manning had even said that because he talked to Jeter. These guys how
well, that's I mean it's got to suck because like the Yankees were horrible when it was Jeter's last year, right?
They weren't like great. They were over 500. They were maybe a playoff team. I don't know.
So legitimately, the whole entire time it was Jeter. It wasn't even like winning games or anything like that. I think if Kershaw might have been like, "Hey, this is my last year," the Dodgers are still good. So like them going from town to town, it would probably have been the same, but they would have been a little more focused on the team itself too, though. But I give Kershaw a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and so here's the trivia question regarding Kershaw, because again, 18 years with one team is a big deal. After Kershaw, there are who are the next active players? There's 3 active players who have spent the most seasons played for one club. It's 15. So Kershaw's 18. After him, 3 active players have spent 15 years with one club.
Active.
Yeah, active players, 15 years with the same club. That's the next most after Kershaw.
Wow.
Can you name them? Play along at home.
Altuve?
Altuve is 1.
Is Trout 1?
Trout's 1.
Altuve think.
And 1 more.
Let me think. I'm trying to think of like let me look at the standings and see if I can think one more.
I can give you a hint if you want, because it won't be too
Yelich.
Not Yelich, no. They are all American League, so you got the 2.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Salvi
Perez.
All right.
Those 3 are the next after Kershaw. So Kershaw 18, Trout, you got that quick. Trout, Altuve, Salvi, all with 15. And then here's a bombshell for you. The next most after those guys is 11 years. Aaron Nola and Lance McCullers Jr.
Lance McCullers Jr.? Nola's not that shocking to me, but Lance McCullers is extremely shocking that he's been in the league for 11 years.
11 years, all with Houston, and I mean, 11 years, he might have made 11 starts in 11 years. But
Yeah, I
what are
think
you
that's
gonna
why
do?
it's shocking.
Yeah. Well, let's go from one lefty to another, and it was Max Fried yesterday. He tied a career high with 13 strikeouts and becomes the first pitcher in the show 2025 with to 18 game winner. He went 7 innings, pitched 3 hits, no earned. Fried's back, and I think he had a rough patch. Like, he was in the Cy Young conversation a little too early when we did like our way too early Cy Young stuff, and then it's like, oh my gosh, he's one of 3 lefties because that was like the big say. Oh, Crochet, Skubal, Fried, right? Who's going to start the All-Star game? Throw Hunter Brown in the mix, and then he, was good enough to make an All-Star team, and he deserved it. And then he kind of got off to maybe a slow second half, a little rough patch nonetheless. But let's not take away anything. He got his ERA back down under 3 yesterday. In 7 scoreless innings, so it's back down under 3, and he leads the league, not just the American League, but all of baseball in wins with 18. Max Fried, what a dude!
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to win a Cy Young, but to do what he's doing for the Yankees right now is huge. The Yankees needed hit their ace to be their ace, especially right now at the perfect time going into late September baseball and October baseball. So they needed that really badly. Max Fried needed that for himself really badly too, because I mean, I remember seeing videos of him after some of his starts when he was struggling, and it looked like he was just completely out of it, like when he was sitting in the dugout and everything. So he's probably getting his confidence back is huge for the Yankees moving into the playoffs.
Yeah, got that. His ERA was like at a 3.05. Entering that, he got down to a 2.92. I think 7 scores. That's a big fucking drop. Maybe it wasn't
Yeah,
as high.
huge. Yeah.
Maybe I'm off on that, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His last 5 starts, he's 5-0. His last 7 starts, he's 6-0. So yeah, talk about. I mean, that's why you lead the league in fucking wins, because all you do is win, win, win. And he's picking a really good time to get hot. The Yankees are actually kind of got their head out of their ass, and as a team, they're picking a good time to get hot. But it's good to rally around your ace like that and have a true ace, because for a second, people might have been worried. But it's good to have a true ace, now at this time of the year. And I don't know how many starts he has, 1 or 2 starts left, probably 2 starts left, whatever. Or maybe, you got to clinch, and then you can kind of not force things. But either way, figured he has 2 starts left or something like that, and pick a good time to get hot. Rodon looks fantastic too.
Yeah.
So it's a good one too, entering, you got to clinch a spot first, and then you figure they roll into the postseason.
We're not given a whole lot of credit. I mean, maybe we have in the past, but I haven't heard a lot. A lot of people have been talking about the NL side of things, like with the amount of good pitchers that they have on the NL. But guess what? The AL might be top heavy, but guess what? The people at the top are pretty damn good. You're looking at a list of like Crochet, Skubal, and like Hunter Brown is going to go on one of the most underrated seasons right now. He's got an ERA of 2.27, man. He's really lacking in the strikeouts compared to like Crochet and Skubal, and also the innings compared to Crochet and Skubal. But that ERA, 2.27, he's been unbelievable. And then also you got to give credit to like Brian Wu as well, and then now Max Fried too, and your boy Rodon.
Yeah, Carlos.
So we got to give him credit. Even like a Joe Ryan, who ERA is a little high, but he's had a pretty damn good year on top of it too. So top heavy is the AL, but they have had some pretty damn good pitching this year.
Yeah, and then with the NL, there was a pitching duel last night in the National League. It was Hunter Green versus Colin Ray. Don't know what's good with the Reds. Maybe we can talk a little bit about them. But before we get into that, that was Reds Cubs. That was yesterday in tremendous pitching duel. Wednesday, though, the Cubbies clinched the playoffs, and they're now the 3rd team to clinch. No American League team has clinched yet, and the Cubs become the 3rd. Now, the Brewers haven't clinched a division yet, so the Cubbies they're getting a little hot. I do think the Brewers are going to be just fine in terms of winning the division, but Cubbies not terribly far behind it. For a second, people were like, "Oh, the Cubbies, I don't fucking know." They had some injuries; their stars weren't starring. Now I think they might be back. There still might be some injuries. There still could probably some dudes who can get their head out of their ass. There's still a little bit of that. But I do think the Cubs they know who they are, and I do think their pitching, which was probably their biggest issue all season, I think has actually figured itself out. And now they clinched a spot. They're one of 3 teams. They're the 3rd team to do it. I mean, that's still you still got to respect that. What do you make of the Cubbies? And by the way, this is their first time, the first playoff berth since 2020, by the way.
Well, I like the Cubs being back in the playoffs. They have a great team, great roster, great lineup, and I guess their pitching is now coming back to what they need it to be. But here's the thing that worries me about the Cubs. There still are people on their team who aren't producing. Obviously, they just got shut out. Now, this isn't any discredit to Hunter Green. Hunter Green is a monster, and he's going to have games like this. But they just got one hit in the end of September. I get it. They just clinched on Wednesday. They were probably hungover. They were probably partying a little bit and stuff like that. But these are things that you have to take into account a little bit. Like the Cubs offense has been so lackluster in this second half that it's very glaring that this was the most potent offense in baseball at the first half of the season. And we thought, and there were people being like, nobody can shut this team out. Nobody can stop this team. Well, guess what? Almost everybody and their mother has stopped this team in the second half. So credit to them. They clinched this early on because they had an insanely good first half. But that's why when everybody's like, oh, it's just a game in July, it doesn't matter. Well, guess what? It did matter for the Cubs and everything like that. So I think they're still going to put up a fight in the playoffs. It's still going to be a good team, but this is not like the World Series contender that everybody thought it was.
Okay. I can kind of get behind that. I mean, especially the way that the Brewers have really erupted and the Phillies look good, and you can never count them. Like there's just the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers too. Whatever the Padres. Like the National League has, I do think, a few teams, but I would put ahead of the Cubs if we did this like a power ranking, or just if we just focus on the National League side. They're not. But like I said, Brewers didn't clinch a division yet. Maybe that's a little far fetched. Cubbies are the hottest team in that division. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Brewers are 6-4 in their last 10. But the Brewers are on a little 3-game win streak. So Brewers do that shit though. Like Brewers, they be doing that. They get on streaks and they can't be stopped. But the Cubbies look good as of late. So good for them. And I made a case on Wednesday as to why maybe I like the Cubs a little bit more now than ever. I think they've kind of got their shit together, similar to like the Yankees. You run into a rough patch and you go really bad, and like it's not just a rough patch; it's like a really ugly patch. There's peaks and valleys, but holy shit, their valleys were ugly. And I thought the Cubs kind of fell into that too. Now they're kind of getting their back at it, very quietly going about their business, and don't look terrible. And you look at their pitching staff, the way Cade Horton's whole season has gone, probably be the Rookie of the Year in the National League side. We'll talk more about the rookies today. And I look at Imanaga and Boyd, who was an all-star. I'm like, that's a really good 3 to roll out. Now, granted, Milwaukee has a good 3 or 4 to roll out because you got to show up to Quinn Judas Priester, who I don't know if he got a win yesterday. I think he pitched yesterday.
He did. He got a win, I think.
I don't know if he got a win, but I know the team won. And I think there's like 19 straight starts for Quinn Priester, 19 straight starts when he pitches, the team wins. Ridiculous stuff. Woodruff, fucking Mizorowski, who I think is like the 4th guy now, and he's, his season everyone knows about. And Freddie Peralta, who is, I think, he's going this weekend, and he's at 17 wins, so he's actually one behind Fried for the major league lead. Chance to do it this weekend against the Cardinals, I believe. That's a really good staff too. But I think the Cubs can roll out a solid 3, which kind of sits well with me moving forward. So if they can get through the wild card round, which I think they are kind of set up to win a 2 out of 3, a series 2 out of 3, given their big 3 pitchers, I think they could do it. Obviously they would have home field advantage if the season would end today in that game, and they would play. Who would they play? The Padres.
The Padres
would come to Wrigley. So. It's going to be interesting. I think I like the Cubs 3 before I like the Padres 3, but I might like the Padres ace more than I like the Cubbies ace. I don't know. We'd have to see. But I do think it would make for a good little matchup, and the Padres are going to play. They're feisty. I do think the Padres are feistier. I'll say that. But the Cubs, I think, have been sitting more well with me as of late because of what Cade Horton's doing, and then you still have Boyd and Imanaga in the I think it's a solid little 3 to navigate through a postseason with. It's their bullpen, I think, scares the hell out of me. Padres have their bullpen on lock.
Well, this is just looking at it from like a little bit further back in like a broader spectrum. This wild card in general, wild card series is going to be insane. This is going to be a really good wild card series this year. You're going to have, if it ended today, we don't know how it's going to look, but if it ended right now, You're going to have the Dodgers playing the Mets, Cubs playing the Padres, Mariners playing Mariners or Astros. We don't know yet. So we can't really talk about the AL, but we talked about it on Wednesday. Those are two good matchups on that side as well. But with that being said, why I touched on that is I think the Cubs and Padres would be the best series out of them all because I think they're very similar teams. I think you have a good, like the 1-2 punch, the first two games of the series, we're going to see really good pitching out of King and Pivetta from the Padres and Imanaga and whoever the Cubs decide to throw second. I think it's going to be up in the air, but who do you think it's going to be?
I personally would go Boyd for a game one starter. Because he was the All-Star this year. Maybe you go Imanaga because I think he's had better success over the past 2 years. And he's kind of the longer tenured Cub, even though it's been 2 years. I think Boyd was in Cleveland. But I think Boyd pitched in the playoffs last year with Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe
he might have.
But Boyd was the All-Star this year. I think he's been good from start to finish. I think Boyd's had the best season. I'd roll him out for game one. Then probably if you win that game, you go Cade Horton for game two. If you lose that game, then you have to go Imanaga. But if you can Boyd, throw out Cade Horton if you win that one, and then you just sweep them, and now you have Imanaga for game one of the division round.
Well, either way, I think that series is going to be insane, but I think the Padres win that series because their lineups stack up pretty well against each other. Their pitching stacks up pretty well against each other now. I still think the Padres have the better pitching, but the Padres also have the better pen. So it's not that the Cubs team is bad, but they're getting kind of an unfair shake against a good Padres team and a Padres team who's had a little bit of success in, fucking shit up once the playoffs come around.
They're feisty, and they got eliminated last year, but it wasn't because they played bad. I mean, I think the other team played better, and it was the Dodgers who went on to win the whole fucking thing. But they play everybody hard. It was a gut fight
for the past 3 years. They have. It was for the past 3 years they have.
Yeah, every time they've gone, they've really they're feisty. That's the best word I could describe. Like I don't know if the Cubs are, I would say they're feisty. I think the Padres are like feisty and kind of like little nasty little motherfuckers. Like they get you. They'll bite your ankles like fucking the Lions or whatever. What did Dan Campbell say? They bite your ankles. But with the Cubbies, I think they've just been kind of steady, and maybe they can just pounce at the right time, which would be kind of, I think, their way of navigating through the postseason. I think the Padres are just going to really want to just like be foaming at the mouth, like, and then they just want to like attack you every step of the way. But if we go back on the Cubs yesterday's game, because it was a pitching duel, like you talked about it, maybe they were a little bit banged up from celebrating the night before. The one guy we didn't mention in regards of the Cubs starting pitching was Colin Ray. He pitched yesterday. He pitched an absolute gem, 7 innings, 1 earned, no walks, 11 Ks. Took the loss, though, because his counterpart, Hunter Green, just pitched a little bit better. Complete game shutout, 9 Ks, only 1 hit on a complete game shutout. He hit 101 miles an hour multiple times in the ninth, so he was dealing. Don't know what's good with the Reds. If you want to stick with the Central for just a teensy bit longer, what's good with the Reds? They're 2 games back. Their ace went out and just shoved against a team that clinched the day before. Does that give you any hope for the Reds who are 2 games back? I don't know.
Well, they got a 4-game set here against the Cubbies. Hard task because the Cubs are still looking. They got the division in their eyes because the Brewers haven't clinched yet. They know that that's within reach, so it's not like they're just going to give up. But also another thing is the Reds had so many chances this year and such better chances earlier in the year, and they just didn't get it done. So I want to be like, they can do it. Yeah. But in reality, I have no fucking idea, Spin, because he can go out and shove. Abbott could go. I don't know if Abbott goes today or when he goes, but he could go out, pitch a gem too on top of like what already happened. Who they have? They have Lodolo, Littell, and Abbott. So, hey, listen, they got 3 guys going for them. And if they somehow, squeak out maybe 3 wins against that, it all depends on what the Mets do against Washington. So it kind of doesn't look too great for the Reds.
Yeah, that's the thing on both sides, the AL and NL. It just seems like, with the exception of Cleveland, which we'll get into, I think, right? Maybe when we talk more about, how the AL picture is presenting itself. But the thing about like teams like Texas, at a certain point, Kansas City, you look at some of the teams on the National League side, San Fran was kind of almost in that conversation. Now they're 3 back after being 4-6 in their last 10. Got teams like Arizona and Cincy are 500 in their last 10. it's like as soon as they kind of get in the conversation, they don't do enough to stay in the conversation. They fall.
Bright lights are too bright.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just
They're just one. They're pieces away. Like the Reds are missing the lineup aspect of it. If we bring it down to like three things, it's when it goes to lineup, pitching, and bullpen. Reds are missing the lineup. They don't have enough. They don't have a deep enough lineup to like compete in the postseason in a way. So.
Yeah, possibly even bullpen too. And
yeah,
I don't think it's their year either. I'm just trying to figure out ways the Mets cannot make it. But
yeah, I think our best chance is the Diamondbacks, and if the Phillies are feeling feisty and just want to let the Snakes sweep them, I wouldn't be too mad at that.
Well, I'm happy you brought up the Phils. Look at this graphic, Sean. You might like this one. This is what the Phils look like against every team who currently holds a playoff spot. Look at the Phils go. So with the exception of the Brewers and the Mets and the Astros, so those three, and the Astros are, there's only two NL teams that they have an under 500 record against this year, the Phillies.
Yeah. So you remember when I was crashing out back in the day about the Phillies? The Brewers and the Mets and the Brewers and the Astros for sure were a part of that slump they had in the middle of the year. That's when they played those. They had a series against the Brewers where they got swept, and then they had a series against the Astros where they got swept, and I was losing my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about those glaring ones, but they've had success against the Dodgers in the past. They handled the Cubbies at their peak too in the beginning of the year. Not when the Cubs look bad in this back end. Padres are obviously up and down, and the Mets are cheating at Citi Field, so I don't know what else that people want from me with them going 6-7.
Well, 6-7 is good though. They were 2-7 at one point.
I know. So the 4-game sweep against the Mets is fantastic, but I was going to paint this to you a little bit later and pose this question to you. But to me, it seems like whoever's coming out of the NL is winning.
Okay, I can get behind that.
To me, it just seems like whoever is coming out of the NL is winning the World Series this year.
That's what it seems like. The NL, I think, has at least two with the Dodgers and Phillies just because of muscle memory. They could just go on a run because we've seen it, right? And the Dodgers just won it last year, so you can't roll them out. And then you have the best team in baseball in the National League side as well, so you have to mention the Brewers. And then we talk about how feisty the Padres could be. All of that without even bringing up the Cubs, who literally just clinched a few days ago. So. The third team to clinch, that is. So there's three National League teams clinch before any AL team can. So I would agree with that. I would love to see. I think the Phillies, look at the Mariners. They swept them with they swept the Mariners earlier. I don't know if they've got the Mariners at their best, but they did have like the Cubs at their best at a certain point, right? It's good to see that Dodgers does stick out to me because like the Dodgers, defending champs, and they know how to navigate through the postseason. So if that becomes another postseason thing, they just took 2 out of 3. And what did they?
And Chavez Ravine.
And then they won 2 out of 3 earlier in the season. That's what that would mean, right?
Yeah.
And
so I
think they actually gave the Dodgers maybe their first loss of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Was that Luzardo?
They played them early on. Yeah, we watched
very early on. Yeah, I think we were at Copperhead. I think Luzardo on a Friday. I want to say that could have been
Apple TV game.
Apple TV game. That's a fucking. It feels like just yesterday, but I think that's what the Dodgers' first loss of the season. Remember, they started in fucking Tokyo or whatever the fuck it was, and I think the Phillies gave the Dodgers their first loss of the year, and then ultimately won that series, and then they just won the series. So good thing they're playing the Dodgers hard. You see, Dodgers and Phillies looks like it'll be a dog fight whenever they play, but that's just a given at this point.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
But also something with the Phillies is they are doing all this right now with arguably their most consistent player, minus Schwarber, the whole entire year. Like Trey Turner's been unbelievable for them. He's out right now. Who knows what he's going to look back and what he's going to add to the lineup when he comes back. But that I do like seeing that graphic there. That does bring a little joy to me. Yep.
And I like that you mentioned Trey. He's hitting 305, but he's banged up, right? And I don't think there's no need to rush him back. I don't even know what his timetable looks like. But I think we're all comfortable to be back for the playoffs, right? Either way, 305 looks like he leads the National League in batting average right now. So that's a batting title at 305, and it's just sitting there because Trey's banged up. Nico Horner, on the other hand, who's a stud, 301. He's the next best in the NL. So there's only 2 guys in the NL hitting over 300 right now. But Horner at 301, I think it was 302 as of yesterday. He must have had a 1 for 4 day, perhaps, or an 0 for 4 day. I don't know. Who cares? But Nico, 301, to Trey's 305. Can Nico catch him? Because I think that 305 is just going to be sitting there. It's going to be waiting for the taking, or Trey iced it. He iced it. It's just going to be there and he wins it, or it's there for the taking and Nico can climb. Also, Sal Freelick 296, Freeman 295 if you're interested in the next few.
I think it's Trey's. I don't know if Nico's going to do it. I hope Nico doesn't do it, but I do think it's Trey's. I think Trey kind of earned it this year to have kind of the batting title for the National League. But when you look, it is kind of funny when you look from National League to American League, because National League has, two guys above 300, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 6 people on the AL side that are batting above 300 with regards to Yandy Diaz, and who's at a 297. So it's very different, which is kind of crazy.
So Trey has won a batting title in the past, 2021, between Washington and LA. He hit 328 and won it. So this could be a second batting title, which would be cool. Now I'm a Nico Miso Horner type of fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Nico Miso Horner. Always have been. I think at the beginning of the year, oh my gosh, one of these days we have to look at my preseason lists, because I did some lists, especially with fantasy stuff in mind. And wow, I had some freaking really good takes before.
Well, you like those central second basemen.
I like
a fan of Terang, and you're a fan of
and always Horner. Nico Miso Horner. And I remember calling Nico Miso Horner I think I called Bryson Stott a Nico Horner minus the consistency.
Yeah, well, you'd be pretty on point with that, in all honesty. Because Horner, the one thing that he was lacking was kind of the hitting, and he seemed to really figure it out this year.
Yeah, I think he's always a respectable batting average guy, but this year, I don't think how much he's ever competed.
But that's what you want out of a guy like Nico.
283 hitter.
That's what you want him out of, like Nico Horner, to hit close to 300, because he's not going to bring it to the power department, and he's a shoo-in for Gold Glove every single year.
Yeah, great defender, scrappy dude, right? Can still swipe bags and shit like that. Similar to Stott, but Stott doesn't have the consistency of Nico. So that's a little bit on that, on the National League batting title, and we'll see. Keep an eye on that, because there's only 2 guys hitting over 300. I mean, what if the batting title hits 305 this year? That's going to be that's just a new era of baseball. So whatever. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. How about a couple of guys? I don't know if this matters, so we'll see. Cole Reagans makes a start today for Kansas City. I think Kansas City they were in it for like a second, and now it's like, oh fuck. But Cole Reagans is back. They look at him to be an ace at times. I don't know if he's still considered their ace. Maybe he is. His numbers don't look ace-like right now, but he's a good guy to come back. And then even more so, Tyler Mahle for Texas. I think too little too late for some of these teams. It doesn't matter at all in the wild card race.
Kansas City, no.
Fuck off, right? Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City's done. They're dead in the water. Texas, maybe. Texas, they would have to have either the Astros or the Mariners sweep one or the other. That's how Texas could stay in this race, in my eyes. I don't think it's going to be the Red Sox, who are the team to fall and everything like that. If anything, it's got to come from one of the West teams. And hey, Seattle and Houston play each other. I don't think they're going to sweep each other, but who knows?
Yeah, Texas 4 games back from a wild card spot. I mean, it felt like it was just 1.5.
Exactly.
And now they go on a 4-game losing streak.
And I mean, it's been Texas's nature this year to every single time they get close to let me just shoot myself in the foot and suck as soon as we get at least under 2 games out. I mean, the Braves have been disappointing, but the Rangers keep disappointing us. Like the Braves, we could put to bed early on in the year. The Rangers kept sticking around, and they kept being like that dad kid that keeps coming back, and then you're like, oh, he's gone for milk again. Well, guess what? That's been like the Texas Rangers every single freaking time this year.
Yeah. It sucks. I think Tyler Mahle is a good little addition. I don't know how that shakes things up in their starting rotation. Can that bump a guy to the pen and at least give Bochy something to work with? Because their pen has been an issue all year.
Well, guess what? It's not their pitching that is the problem. It's their freaking it's their lineup.
Yeah. It was a big ask, though, without Semien and Seager to actually think they were going to climb that much. They got hot for a little bit.
I mean, even when they had Semien and Seager, Semien is the highest paid second baseman in all of baseball, playing like he shouldn't even be in the freaking league. And I mean, also Seager's been horrible this year too. So like he's been hurt, and then when he's been back, he hasn't been hitting. It's a mess over there in Texas.
Yeah, I think Seager needed some more time to kind of settle in because he's been banged up, comes back, and it's like, well, he give him a second to get hot, and before that can happen, he gets banged up again. But I think if he has these long streaks, he can put it together. But this hasn't been Texas's year, which sucks because this is Bochy's. I think Bochy's turning 70 or 71, but either way, he's on the last year of a contract with them. So I don't know. This could be Bochy's last year over there. He did his job. His first year as manager, they won a World Series, the first World Series in franchise history. They haven't been back to the playoffs since, and maybe there was hope for them this year. But like you said, every time they get close, shoot themselves in the foot. And they're not the only team that's been doing that. Kansas City did the same thing, but they haven't been lingering as much. And then on the National League side, I know we talked about it, but a team like the Reds, they get close. Oh no, never mind. You know
Well,
what I
the
mean?
Giants just did it too.
And the Giants just did it.
Yeah, the Giants just did it. So
it seems like the only team not doing it is Cleveland, and let's get into them. But let's talk about the what's good in the AL because there's a lot of crazy shit happening in each division. We'll start with Cleveland in mind. And by the way, we'll start with the West and work our way east. But really quick on the Central, that dude who is on our TikTok who keeps commenting is a Cleveland fan. He might get the last laugh. He just said something again like yesterday.
dude, it's like clockwork. He must have us bookmarked or something because every time they get hot, he comes back and he posts another comment.
Well, we struck a nerve with him or maybe it was me because I said that I was all out on Cleveland like months ago, and then he kind of kept saying things. They're still in the race, and now he commented something like yesterday and was like Cleveland like 3.5 back of first, but even more so. They're 1.5 behind a wild card spot, so that's even crazier there. We'll get to Cleveland in a second. Let's go to the West because that's super intriguing. The fact that Seattle and Houston are once again tied for first, and they have a weekend series in Houston, and it's their final regular season series against one another. By the way, their series, like their head-to-head matchups, 5-5. They're 5-5 against each other this year. This is their last regular. So whoever wins this series very well could win the West. Not necessarily, but you can make that claim because this will also be the tiebreaker. Whoever takes the series at 5-5, this would be the tiebreaker series. Who wins the West though?
Astros 3-game win streak right now, but the Mariners are 9-1 in their last 10, just coming off that huge win streak to propel them there. Oh God, this is hard because you're going with a team that has probably the best trade deadline and put together the most complete team from the trade deadline to a team that you never want to count out when it comes to September and October. Because guess what? They just do it year after year after year. And so it's hard for me to be like, yeah, the Mariners are going to get it done because I've seen the Astros prove so many people wrong for so long. But tonight, Brian Wu versus Hunter Brown. Let's not forget about that. We were going to talk about it a little later. We're going to talk about it right now, actually, because then we get into George Kirby versus Framber Valdez on the second game. And then Sunday, Logan Gilbert versus Jason Alexander on ESPN Baseball, Sunday night game. Not watching the Pat Murphy documentary. We're going to be watching Seattle versus Houston because the MLB sucks at scheduling. But anyway, that's beside the point. Some damn good playoff baseball in the middle of September for you, Spin. Hearing that, I thought it was going to be clear cut. Like, oh, maybe this team will have their aces going when Houston's aces aren't going. Guess what? That's not the case. That's not the case at all tonight. Yeah. I don't know. I can't give you an answer. I want to say Houston. I think Houston gets it done. I think Houston wins the division.
Houston's at home, and by muscle memory alone can I know I keep saying that, but there's teams that are like that, teams like Phillies, Dodgers on the NL, and Yankees and Houston on the AL. I just feel comfortable because we know that they can get the championship series because they just know how to do it. Now, I know this is a different Houston team, and Alvarez is hurt again, but I don't know.
I don't give a shit. They played their best baseball when Alvarez was hurt early in the year.
And I just think, so they have done it for the whole season. They've basically been without Alvarez. When he came back, he was super hot, and they kind of allowed them to get a little jolt that they needed, a little spark plug right there to kind of reignite themselves if whatever they needed. But Wu and Hunter Brown, and these are guys that we did a Cy Young list on Spin's list. I got to post it on Twitter, but Spin's list had Brown finishing third in Cy Young or third in Cy Young voting, and maybe Brian Wu finishing fourth or fifth. So they're right there, neck and neck in like the Cy Young voting. I think Brown's getting a little bit more love than Wu. And I think he will, but Wu, one of the more under-the-radar guys. Both of them were all-stars this year, nonetheless. And then I think you look at George Kirby, Framber Valdez as tomorrow's matchup. Kirby is a stud that hasn't really quite found it this year. Maybe he's in more midseason form at the end of the season because of the injuries and shit like that. You can make the same thing with Logan Gilbert, who pitches Sunday. But some of these Seattle guys, I think they're going to pick the right time to get hot. I think they're too good to kind of be cold all year. And when the going gets tough and they really have to bear down and pitch, they are good enough to do that despite what their numbers might entail. And Framber's look like shit as of late. So, and I think the team hates him, right?
Yeah, well, the team does hate Framber. He's gone. And the whole Astros fan base apparently hates Framber. So he's gone after this year no matter what. So Framber might actually play a little sabotage because he's got to know it a little bit. For anybody that's willing to absolutely beam their catcher in the middle of a game in August when you're in a playoff push is willing to do just about anything, apparently. Because
we'll see. I do like I think I like Seattle's pitching, but I mean that's like a gimme, right? Even though their numbers don't look as good as we thought they were going to be, I do think Gilbert's picked it up a lot lately. I still would respect the fuck out of George Kirby, even though I don't think his ERA is what we thought it would be this year. Brian Woo's been their clear-cut ace. I like those three that they can roll out. Jason Alexander is Sunday's matchup against Gilbert. So it's like, okay, and Framber hasn't looked great, so I still respect Hunter Brown. I kind of like Seattle's pitching here, but I do might favor Houston, and if that's the case, if Houston can win this series, they might as well just win the fucking whole division at that point.
Yeah, and I feel like whoever wins this series probably will win the division. I just can't bet against the Astros.
That's
I can't
because
they prove me wrong every single year. I'm gonna stick with them. Somebody's got to take the crown from them. Maybe it's the Mariners' year to do that. Big fan of what Julio Rodriguez is doing over there, but I just can't bet against the Astros until somebody takes it.
I agree, and I think we might be in the minority there. And I don't know if it's a lot of people would take Seattle because they want to see a new change. I'm just more comfortable taking Houston because they've done it year after year after year. In Seattle, hey, Seattle doesn't have like this rich history of fucking going to the playoffs, guys. You know what I mean? No. I think they have one playoff berth in 20 years. Now, they will make the playoffs this year, but I just think, you look at Houston's last 8 years and Seattle's last 20, and, I don't know. I'm just more comfortable with Houston. Either way, Houston is the hotter team right now. I'm sorry, Seattle's the hotter team, 9-1 in their last 10. But
Houston just coming off the sweep of the Rangers.
And yeah, that was big because the Rangers really needed it. But the thing that makes this series super intriguing is, yes, whoever wins the series will stand alone in first place. And also, whoever wins the series will have to have the head-to-head matchup as well, because right now it's 5 apiece for their head-to-head, which would matter if it would be a tie. Well, then it goes down to head-to-head, who gets for the seeding. So there's that. Then we talked a little bit about Cleveland. Our boy, I forget his name. I've been kind of not been name dropping him on TikTok out of spite, but I might have to show him a little bit of love because right now his boys are kicking ass. They're 3.5 back behind Detroit. Cleveland is. They're on a 7-game win streak. They're the hottest team in baseball, and even more so, 1.5 back from a wild card race. Is that true? 1.5, is it?
Yep.
Okay, so look at them go. 7-game win streak. They were 15.5 games back, which made them 4th in the division back in July. And now look at them go. They'll face 3 more times against Detroit and Cleveland will face off. So Cleveland just swept Detroit early in this week. They have another series against each other next week is what that will be in Cleveland. Who wins the Central now? Because Cleveland's making it a conversation.
They're making it a conversation. I still think it's the Tigers. And listen, I hate that I have to give respect to the Guardians right now, but I have to give respect to the Guardians right now. They battled back. What they did to bring themselves all the way back from where they were is pretty unbelievable. But guess what? I've said it once. I'll say it 1,000,000 times. Jose Ramirez, it never gets enough love for how unbelievable of a goddamn player he is. When it comes to MVP voting, guess what? He's going to come in 3rd, but he should get votes. He should get votes for letting alone bringing this team of misfit toys. This is the team straight out of Major League. I mean, this is the team. We might as well call them the Cleveland Indians again, because this is the team from this is the team from Major League. So I don't know. They've had what? They had, who was it is out now? Clase, and who's their starting pitcher for gambling?
Oh, whoever that guy is. Was it a Soriano?
Whatever. Soriano? But who? I don't. Whoever. Luis Ortiz, was that who it was?
Yeah. I always get those two confused.
But that happened, and apparently it like put a jolt in their system, and they just started winning games lately. So, kudos to the Guardians. I still think the Tigers win the division, though.
I agree with you. It's still the Tigers, but the reason I think it makes for an interesting conversation is the fact that they still have games to be played. Like they still have three games against each other after Cleveland just swept, and those games will be in Cleveland. So I think that's what makes it an interesting conversation. I don't think they'll sweep them 2 times in a row, but fuck.
Over the last 15 days,
they did just beat Scoobel yesterday, by the way.
Their whole entire staff, 15 days. They have 4 guys who have an over 3 ERA. The rest of them are under 2 ERA. That's insane. Tanner Bibby, last 15 days, 1.25. Cade Smith, 1 ERA. Gavin Williams, 1.5.
Yeah.
It's Slay Ciccone, 1.32.
I'm happy you brought somebody. Yeah, Ciccone was the guy that had like a no or a perfect game going pretty deep into the game.
Parker Messick, don't even know who that is. 1.5.
He's a stud.
Joey Cantillo, really 0.69 ERA. I mean, where did this pitching come from?
Yeah, Bibby, I think in his last 2, at least 2 has been good. Maybe longer. I don't know how long.
Last three.
And he outpitched Scoobel. Yeah, I mean, Scoobel pitched well. He always pitches. He's always going to be a stud. Yeah. But he pitched yesterday, and I think Bibby I believe he got a win. I know the team won. I believe he got a win yesterday too. So he's been really good, and I actually think Bibby's 2 starts ago has been outrageous. So yeah, the pitching has been there, and that's one of the questions. I mean, you kind of touched on it, right, with Clase in the pen, and he's not there, and the starting pitching, I don't know. Well, that's answered any questions. By the way, they have an interesting stat. I think Mazzardo, what the fuck's his first name? That rookie, Kyle Manzardo, I think he hit like 20, home run number 24 or some shit the other day. Don't know his home run total. It's over 20. But him and Jose Ramirez are the only guys on Cleveland that have over 12 home runs. I think I heard a stat. So Manzardo is like a big part of that team within the power department. Obviously, J-Ram's going to do J-Ram things. But it's not like this team dazzles in the home run department. I think they just play scrappy ball, and the pitching shows up, keeps you in games. And the bullpen has done enough without Class A to actually seal the deal on these games, which is important to note.
And like when you hear Cleveland, you want your team to have a lot of grit to it. You don't want them flashy, hitting bombs, everything. You want some grit, and they got some grit. So kudos to them.
Kudos to them. But it's still Detroit to win it. But again, so we agree on that, right? Detroit to win the division.
Yeah. I don't even think the Guardians make the playoffs, but
I don't either.
But they've proven me wrong already. They proved me wrong before, and I think it would actually be hilarious if they take Boston's spot in the playoffs because Boston fans have legitimately thought their team is the next coming of Christ for like the longest time now. So I think it would be awesome to see them knock down a peg.
Yeah, that's the other thing too is they could flip-flop with Boston. I would love that, but I don't think that's the case. I do think if you look at the 6 best teams in the American League, Boston is one of them. But Cleveland, as of right now, is the best team in the American League. If you just look at the fact they're on a 7-game win streak, they haven't lost in a week. And they picked a really good time to get hot, nonetheless. How about the AL East now? Just when you thought you wanted to write the Yankees off, they're right back in it. Toronto, though, lost yesterday. The Yankees win yesterday. Puts the Yankees 3 games back, from 3.5 to 3 back, with the Toronto loss and the Yankees win. Who wins the East?
So this is another case of Yankees getting hot at the right time, man. We talked about Max
Fried. Yankees have a good little schedule.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about Max Fried beforehand. The Blue Jays are going to play the Royals at Kansas City. So a little bit scrappier of a team because Yankees are going to play Baltimore. Baltimore definitely a little more out of it. They've been checked out now for a while. Kansas City might have a little juice left. Who knows? But I want to say the Blue Jays still win it because they do have the 3-game lead. There's only 9 games left. I don't think the Blue Jays pissed down their leg enough for the Yankees to come take it from them. They're making it interesting, though. I don't think the Yankees are going to finish 3 games out. I think they're going to finish. Probably it's going to get even closer. I'd say like 1 game back. In all honesty, I think that's how it ends. But I think the Blue Jays end up taking the division still.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to strength of schedule these next 3 series, these last 3 series, really. You talked about Kansas City, a little bit more of a scrappier team. They also the Blue Jays, that is, just split a series, Monday-Thursday series against Tampa Bay, and they lost last two. So they win, lose, lose, all close games. But nonetheless, that's Tampa Bay. That's a little scrappy. Now you have Kansas City. That, we'll see. Maybe they just say fuck it, play spoiler, because I think they're too far gone at this point. But then they got Boston and Tampa Bay again. Granted, they finished the season at home, but those are teams that are a little bit more scrappy and interesting. Where the Yankees have no playoff teams from here on out. Now they have Baltimore this weekend, and the end of the season with Baltimore. Sandwiched in between is a series against the White Sox. Yankees also end the season at home. Now, Baltimore, division rival, they can say fuck it and play spoiler and do that type of thing. But strength of schedule has favored the Yankees. I got to believe in them. But nonetheless, clinch your freaking spot first, and then we'll talk. Here's the thing with that is whoever wins that division, very good chance they get a bye in the first round and don't have to put
Which is wild that the bye is still like this
important.
up in the air.
And that's the importance of that. Yeah, it is. Because Toronto, if the Toronto wins tonight, that'll be win number 90. They'll be the third MLB team to 90 wins. First in the AL. But, nothing's set in stone. Yankees at 86. And then you look at teams like the Tigers have 85 wins. So the Yankees are a better team record-wise than Detroit right now. And then Houston and Seattle tied with 84 wins. But, yeah, that's that second wild card spot or the first wild card. Either wild card spot. I'm sorry. Bye, whatever. Either top two spots are so important because you won't have to play in that wild card series, and you go right to the division round, which would be very nice. It'd be nice I'd like to if the Yankees could just be in that division round, allow teams to beat up on themselves, and then guess what? Now you just eliminated 2 teams get eliminated, and now it's instead of now you're in the division round playing God knows who. But one thing at a time. Clinch your spot first. Just win. And the Yankees have a rigorous matchup today because. They're going against Trevor Rogers is his name. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
He's been an absolute dog. So keep an eye out on that. I have a rookie team for you, Sean.
Let's hear it.
I'll show it. Look at this rookie team. I put this together because I was like, well, there's a lot of good rookies, and I think I saw some type of list that had like rookies and shit on it, and I was like, well, there's so many rookies. The rookie class is so spectacular that you could literally make an all-rookie team for the AL and the NL. And I was like, well, who's the best at each position? And I think, that's what I think we're looking at. I had to put some guys out of order. Colson Montgomery has been an absolute monster. I don't know if
he's been unbelievable. So you put him at third? Good call.
I have to put him at third. He does qualify for third in fantasy, but he plays more short in real life. But Jacob Wilson's the shortstop. Colson Montgomery, though, average-wise might not be the sexiest guy, but for a short period of time, he was homering at an outrageous rate, and he was like, it's like, dude, if you're going to do this on a full season, you might be a kind of a motherfucker here. Colson Montgomery has 48 hits on the season. 18 of them are homers. So there's that. He just also hasn't have a large sample size, but he's been good when he's been good. I had to no Jack Caglione, sorry Jack, but Cam Smith. Well, I had to add a utility spot because everyone's so good. Jake Mangum, a little spot in my outfield there for the AL, and then there's my pitching staff. Carlos Vargas, we haven't talked about him enough, but he's part of that Seattle bullpen. That is not just Munoz. There's other guys involved too, and Vargas is a contributor there. And then you look at the NL here. I had to put Hassan Kim in my utility spot. And here's the thing, you know who's not listed? No Dylan Cruz. And who was the hot shit? No, Jack Caglione.
Yeah. So that is something. But I do like this list you have here. It looks pretty good. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. But listen, I like that baseball is going more in this direction of let's bring these young guys up and see what they got. And a lot of people have not been letting us down. I mean, Jacob Wilson was close to winning a batting title in his rookie year. Roman Anthony shined over there in Boston as he's come up. Same thing with Colson Montgomery. He's been a little off the radar for people who aren't don't really watch baseball a whole lot. But guess what? He's been killing it time and time again, even a Luke Keeschel too. Yep. And obviously Nick Kurtz, the big Amish, the Lancaster milkman, if you will, is doing it constantly. He's going to be unbelievable. But then you get to the NL side. Drake Baldwin's been on a shitty Braves team, but he's been having a very good year. Matt Shaw was the hottest person on the Cubs for the longest time. Jacob Marcy, great for Miami. Miami's got some sneaky guys, as you like to say. Agustin Ramirez. How long ago did I bring up Agustin Ramirez spin? I know you remember because I remember. Mizorowski, Horton, McLean, been unbelievable too. So I like the way Isaac Collins. I can't believe I forgot to say his name. But I like the way the MLB is trending because for so long we've seen it they want them to get a lot of experience in the minors, and they want. But now a lot of guys are just saying, "Hey, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna bring them up. We're gonna see what they got." And I like that.
Yep. I think you look at some of these guys. Kate Horton, what a stud. But yeah, I mean, there's some guys. There's actually more guys too, but I had to limit it. I mean, we didn't talk about Shane Smith. Whatever. Kyle Teal's a good little catcher. Will Warren. Oh, I did put Will Warren on. Cam Schlittler. I wanted to put one of my Yankees on there from the staff. But guys like Chad Patrick too. What are you gonna do? That Jack Dreyer dude. Well, how about that Brandon Sprott guy for the Mets? Whatever. Connolly Early, another pitcher that just got called up. But like similar to Nolan McLean, some of these guys don't have a lot of time. It's been like a month, or sometimes less than a month, or a little over a month. So I had to tread lightly on some of the very new guys. But I did give Nolan McLean a little bit of love because of how good he's been. But how about this? Another little note: 3 Milwaukee Brewers on the all-rookie team here. Caleb Durbin, Mizorowski, and who the fuck's the other guy? Isaac Collins.
They've been a huge contributors to their success, so they got to be on there.
That's true. Durbin's been a low-key fucking motherfucker. And Dalen Lyle, too. We haven't talked about him, but he's been really good. And I don't know if we would have thought that Dalen Lyle would be the best rookie outfielder for Washington. I don't even know if we knew who Dalen Lyle was, but Dylan Cruz, bye-bye. Not, maybe what's the opposite of a sophomore slump? A sophomore fucking ass kick season?
Yeah, well, that's what we'll call it. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on Dylan Cruz to see if he does anything next year. I'm hopeful for him. I don't want, once again, we don't want to jump out of our shoes either way about these guys. But for Big Amish, I will jump out of my shoes. I love Nick Kurtz.
Yep,
he's my guy.
The Lancaster Milkman. So you got to respect, represent from, our neck of the woods, even though it's really not our neck of the woods. But now that he's in West Sacramento, it kind of, it makes the map a little bit smaller. So we're just like, yeah, we're around the same little area here. Okay, so that rookie team kind of got me thinking of, hey, let's do some spins list. We did a MVP and Cy Young last time. Let's do a little
spins
rookie
list.
Of the year. Let's do a little rookie of the year. Now I put it up because I can't find my other thing, so I'm just gonna put it straight up. Look, Montgomery doesn't make this team now. Okay, but listen, I gotta respect Jake Mangum. Okay, he's been an absolute dog for Tampa Bay, stealing bases, good batting average in a rookie season. There's 2 Tampa Bay outfielders. And listen, I think Tampa Bay position players might be in good hands with Rasmussen at the top of that staff. We can never count them out for, next year. Either way, I got to put one of the Yankee rookie pitchers on this list, Cam Schlittler and or Will Warren. Who do you like? I don't know. Schlittler, pretty good ball player. And then Will Warren, he might lead all rookies in innings pitched. I
feel like Warren has been doing it for longer, so I'd give it to Warren over Schlittler.
I agree. I think Schlittler has a better ERA, might have been better as of Schlittler's making a better case to be a Game 3 starter in the postseason, but Will Warren has been doing it longer, so I put him right there. But you got to respect Jack Leiter as well. I still don't think he's the best rookie pitcher, but he's been turning it up as of late.
He's been good lately.
He's had peaks and valleys of his season, but right now, as things stand, Jack Leiter looks pretty good. I'll give him kind of towards the bottom of this list. But Chandler Simpson's been a dog. He's multi-hit guy, and when he gets on base, he's swiping bags. And it's got to be hard to swipe bags when the whole ballpark knows you're stealing. Well, he steals them anyway. So pretty good stuff there. Here's the best rookie pitcher, though, Noah Cameron for Kansas City. He's been a dog and a bit of a godsend because Reagans comes back today, and I think even Lugo might be banged up. And you look at those guys to be top of the arm guys in Kansas City. Well, guess what? Who would have thought that guys like Noah Cameron, even Ryan Bergert would kind of be the dogs? Well, Cameron's been a beast all season. He's there. Cam Smith, though, I have to go position players ahead of pitchers, though, especially if it gets a little close. So I'll give Cam Smith the 5 spot. Jason Dominguez does get the 4 spot. A little bit of more tools in his arsenal. His numbers are better than Cam Smith. Roman Anthony, even though he's banged up, is a top 3 guy. Then you got 2 A's, 2 and then 1. I think at one point, Jacob Wilson was the front runner, and then his buddy from across the diamond over there, he takes the reins at number 1. That's the AL rookie class right there.
Good list. Colson Montgomery to me has to be on that list, though.
Okay, who do you take off?
I think I take Chandler Simpson off.
Ooh,
yeah, I think
Montgomery just hasn't been doing it long enough. The batting average.
I know, but he came up and he was on a tear for a little bit there.
That's a good take, though. We'll see. I am Team Chandler, but shout out Colson. That's why I want to.
I like Chandler. I think he should be on there, but I think Colson Montgomery deserves to be in the top 10.
I respect it. I respect it. I have him at 11. Here's the NL side. You know who I have at 11? Nolan McLean, and a lot of it's because he only has a few starts this year. He's come up over like the last 2 months or whatever it is. So I'm gonna favor the guys who've been around longer, or in this case, Dalen Lyle, who I don't know if he's been around for all that long, but he is a position player, so I'll favor him there. Jack Dreyer. No one's talked about Jack Dreyer. I spelled his name wrong. Sorry, Jack. I spelled Jack right, but Dreyer is spelled wrong. I could spell Jack. Dreyer is what got me. I think it's Dreyer. But we haven't talked about him. He's probably been the brightest spot in the Dodgers bullpen. If you look at the numbers, he's been really good. Little rookie there. Better
And a horrible bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen has not been good, and Dreyer has been. So shout out. I don't even know if anyone's talking about Jack Dreyer. Jack Dreyer also sounds like a character from fucking Mad Men. Okay, let me go to Jacob Marcy. You talked about him. He's a stud. But I give Mizorowski a little upper edge. I think Mizorowski's trended down a little bit, but when he's hot, he was arguably the best pitcher in baseball. It was good enough to, on 5 or 6 starts, make an all-star team. So I'll respect the kid. Plus, he's on the Milwaukee team that, hello, it's Milwaukee. Matt Shaw, though, again, I have to favor position players a little bit ahead. And actually, Mizorowski could have been top 2 at a certain point, but he trended down that much. So he still makes the list. But I'll put him ahead of some guys. Matt Shaw ahead of him, though. Augustin Ramirez, a little bit ahead of Matt Shaw. Ramirez does it in the power department. Caleb Durbin has turned himself into a fucking well-rounded ball player. He was a guy in the Yankees system, and he got traded in that Nestor Cortez and Devin Williams trade. Durbin was the position player in that, and Milwaukee has a good guy on the left side of that infield there. Isaac Collins, though, another Milwaukee Brewer. 3 Brewers make the list. Baldwin from 1 to 2. I think there was a point he was at number 1. Now he's 2 because Cade Horton has been doing it all year, going about his business and being a stud. That's the NL side.
Good list again. It is kind of wild that Mizorowski, as soon as he came up, people were like, oh, he's the rookie of the year, and now we have him at 7, but I think rightfully so. He had a really big fall off, and that's why we don't jump out of the shoes for our rookies. We know that there's going to be ups and downs of everything. It doesn't mean he's a bad player. It doesn't mean he's not going to be great coming up, but this guy came up and they're like, oh, he schemes. What are you talking about? No, he's not. And I mean, like, that just kind of blows my mind that people kind of do that. He's going to be good. He's going to be great. He's probably might even contend for some Cy Youngs down the line. But guess what? He's a young kid. Give him some time and he'll be right up at the top. But top 2, definitely great. I like that you have Isaac Collins at 3 because Isaac Collins was one of the biggest parts of their success for that when they went on that run. Yep. So I like that where you have that.
Yeah, no Dylan Cruz. No, Luis Angel Acuna.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think Luis Angel Acuna was our rookie of the month, at least for our program, like for the first month of the season. We were like, oh, Luis Angel over Dylan Cruz. Cruz was off to a bad start. But then Luis Angel, not consistent enough. And no Hassan Kim on this list.
For Isaac Collins, was Isaac Collins the 3rd pick in that one in the draft?
And no Roki Sasaki on this list either.
Well, Roki's may not make it back to the bigs, in all honesty. He's been horrible in the minors.
Has he? But his contract would suggest he better get called up.
I know. But I believe he was the Adley. Isaac Collins was the 3rd pick in the Adley draft. Who went 2 in that draft?
Oh, I have no idea. What was this, like 21, 20, 19? I don't know. Was Adley a rookie in 21? So maybe. I don't know that shit.
I want to look it up real quick because I think
So Collins is like an older rookie. It took him a little while.
It was Adley Rutschman, Bobby Witt. Oh, Andrew Vaughn was the 3rd, and he's another Brewer as well. He's not a rookie or anything, but they wrote off Andrew Vaughn big time. That was the storyline I was getting into. We don't even have to talk about it.
Got it. Yeah. And here's the thing. Isaac Collins, he's 28, but he's on age 27 season. So a little bit of an older rookie. I don't think he's the only older rookie. Some of these guys, I don't know all their fucking ages. I'm not going to go through all of them. But there's some guys. That's how rookies come in different shapes and sizes. And here's the cool thing about the National League. Guys like Matt Shaw, Caleb Durbin, these guys are on. Hey, their teams have clinched a spot, and they're both playing in the NL
and they're going to be playing in October.
And they're both little scrappy infielders, pretty versatile dudes. And they're both like, I don't know, like 5'8" or whatever it is. So cool. Here, I got another one for you. We'll do a quick Wet Hot America weekend, and we talk about some playoff implications. But even more so, you got to respect the managers who have led their teams to where they are today. This is my spins list on AL Manager of the Year.
You got Bruce Bochy at 9?
Well, here's the thing. Let me justify this a little bit. I have to put Bochy at 9. I mean, it's just not their year. Same with Kevin Cash. But let me talk about Will Venable. I put him at 10. Listen, there's no New York managers make either of my list. The only guys I would consider out of the 10 here would be like an Aaron Boone. You're not there. And then I think his name's something Montgomery, Ron Montgomery. I could be wrong, for the Angels. He's filling in for Ron Washington.
Yeah.
Or no, it's not Ron Montgomery. It's Ron Washington. I don't know why I'm thinking Ron, but whatever his name is. I no Angels either. Other than that, I wouldn't consider the other 3, whoever those are, and then here are the other 10. So Will Venable, yes, the White Sox. He might get more love than this on the actual Manager of the Year, because there's just like this thing that people think that the White Sox are like good. They're not good. They're just better than what they were last year. Maybe they're trending in the right direction. They still suck, and maybe Will Venable. Listen, I respect the guy, but it's not. No. I'll push you over Booney, but you're still not a good team. So bye. But yeah, then there's a big gap, I think, right? Bochy is keeping his team in a little bit of a hunt, but they keep falling short. This isn't their year. This will be the second straight season if they don't make the playoffs. It'll be the second straight year that they don't make the playoffs. Bochy is going to be in this conversation. So is Kevin Cash. He'll always kind of be there. And I'll even put Joey Espada in the same conversation. Like, that next tier group of guys is like, they'll be there because I think they're good managers, and at the very least they have good teams like Joey Espada, but it's not their year. Bochy, not your year. Bullpen keeps blowing it for you, so that blows any hope for you to win it. You got to give Bochy a good bullpen so he can actually do his thing, do his job as a manager, and do his thing. Right now, it's not the case. They're going to.
I'll give you that, because of all the injuries they've had. The bullpen's hasn't been there to where he's actually. I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, and they're like a dull team. I don't know if they were a dull team that maybe was a little bit better, then there's that. But nothing. Kevin Cash is not their year either, so I think there's better contributors. Espada, yeah, I don't know. I think they're tied for first right now. Maybe I don't. Maybe you could put him a little higher, but I'm not putting him ahead of Kotsay. I think what Kotsay is doing with the A's, I know that they're a bad team, but a huge step in the right direction for where the A's are. So if anything, they're exceeding expectations more so than teams like the Astros, Tampa Bay, and Texas. So I give Kotsay the upper edge. Hinch is a good 5 for me. I think he's doing what he should be doing with that team. I think he's a good manager. They made the playoffs last year, and they're pretty much on par with the season I thought they'd have. Maybe a little bit better than what I thought they had, and that's a big notch to AJ Hinch. But they're about there. Dan Wilson, they're about right there. I think. I don't know. I think Cora, given the circumstance, the ups and downs of the Red Sox season, and
they're a young team.
They're a young team. What Cora's able to do, he's got a lot of luck on his side because pitching roles have established themselves over the course of a season. Bullpen has established themselves over the course of a season. No one thought Balo, Giolito, Chapman would be having the season. So they're establishing themselves as they go. But they've also had to change the narrative and kind of pivot in how they wanted to go about their business this year. And Cora's done a good job with them. Vogue, I've counted Cleveland out multiple times this year, and they've continued to prove me wrong. Big reason is Stephen Vogt, who was the first-year manager last year, won Manager of the Year last year, and he's showing everybody why he's a stud because Cleveland stays in it. But I think at number 1, you have to have John Schneider. I didn't think that Toronto was going to be this good, and look at them now. They're the best team record-wise in the American League.
Good list.
Should be good. Okay, nice.
I like it.
I justified.
You justified Bochy.
Yeah, he's just come on. Come on,
Yeah.
Bruce. I actually thought the Rangers would be a top 2 team in the American League. I thought the AL was between the Yankees and Rangers at the beginning of the season, and now they probably won't even make the playoffs. NL side of things, look at Bob Melvin at the bottom there. San Fran's about where I had them. Again, no Carlos Mendoza, no Ollie Marmol, no Mets, no St. Louis. Those are the only other guys I would have even considered, but Mets look like shit, so bye-bye. St. Louis looks like shit, so bye-bye. I think Bob Melvin is about where they have him, so he's just fine. He's fine at 10. Craig Counsell, he probably could have been higher at a certain point when the Cubs were playing better, but when the going got tough, the Cubs fell out of first place. They didn't have the longevity. Now they clinched, so they're still good. But I think Craig Counsell had a good team. I had them finishing in first place. Well, they're not in first place, and they've shown signs of not being great at times. Granted, they clinched, but I just think there's better managers. Dave Roberts, I have him kind of low. I think he's a good manager, but this is what the Dodgers are supposed to do. So what are you going to do? You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to. If anything, they're not meeting expectations. The Dodgers. If anything, people thought they would be better. But Dave is he's doing what he has to do. They won the World Series last year, and now they're a first-place team. Okay, Dave, you're fine right there. Torey Lovullo could be higher, but Diamondbacks are like, meh. They're still in the hunt, so I give him a little upper edge. Plus, the fact that his bullpen has sucked absolute schwanzy for him in the first half, and they're still not totally out of a playoff spot. Give them a little bit of love. Plus, they were sellers at the deadline, and they're still not totally out of a playoff spot. Give them a little bit of love. Mike Schilt, he gets chucked from a lot of ball games. He's got that fire. But the Padres are good, and they're feisty, and they've kind of been relevant, and they're competing with the Dodgers, so they've been biting at their heels. I got to give respect to Schilt, but I don't think he's better than Francona. Francona's, I think, is a huge step in the right direction for Cincy. I think they're kind of meeting or doing more with less, you could say. Whatever. Don Kelly, I don't know if there's implications as to why he won't get votes for Manager of the Year because he is an interim guy, so I don't know if that fucks anything for him. But Don Kelly, don't know what the Pirates' record is. At a certain point, they were like a 500 team. I guess I don't know what they are now.
They're 65 and 88.
But at a certain point when he took over, they were a 500 team. I don't know if that's still the case. When they started out like maybe 12 and 26 or something along those lines with Derek Shelton. Then they get Don Kelly takes over. They were like maybe a 500 team. Don't know. Maybe they're a little under, a little over at this point.
I think any Pittsburgh Pirates manager deserves Manager of the Year vote strictly because they have to deal with Bob Nutting.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. So he's got to deal with him. But ever since he's taken over, the team has actually been a little bit better. So I don't know if they're going to roll with him for the future. I also don't know if he can get votes if he has an interim tag. But I put Rob Thompson at 3. Team's good. He's doing just fine. There's peaks and valleys with everybody. I think they've gotten through the dark times and they look really good right now. I'll tip my hat to Rob, but I don't think he's better than Clayton McCullough for Miami. But he's been able to do. I mean, this was a team that everyone thought was be a last place team. They're currently in third place and way under 500. They're 7 games under. They showed glimpses of being good at times. They have a lot of young guys. McCullough, who was a World Series champ with the Dodgers last year, is part of that staff. He's going to turn the culture around to this organization. I like Clayton McCullough. He's number 2. And then number 1 is Pat Murphy. Come on, it's Pat Murphy.
Pocket Pancake Pat Murphy deserves to be 1. I like that. I like the Clayton picket too. I really like that. I don't think there's anybody head and shoulders in the NL above the rest minus like after the top 2. Like you could really intertwine all those guys and make cases for it, except for maybe Bob Melvin. Like maybe he deserves to kind of be down at that 10 spot. But all these other guys like Troy Lavulo, not really much you can do out there in Arizona. I think he kind of deserves to be a little lower because Arizona should have been better than what they are. Yeah, they're in the hardest division of baseball kind of thing, but should have been better than they are this year. Francona, I like him where he's at because he's got not the best team, but he's making the best of what he's got. So,
if anything, I could flip flop Roberts and Lavello. I just thought, there's no Roberts is doing exactly what he should be doing there. So
exactly. There's no really reason to give Roberts his flowers. Maybe actually because of the amount of injuries they've had this year, the depth of their team though kind of set them up to have success. But like the amount of injuries he's had to deal with, so maybe you want to give Roberts a little bit more of his flowers.
Yeah, I can see. And in a few weeks, we'll revisit. Well, I think the more important thing to do is to see what we had at the beginning of the year till now. After these next few weeks and we gear up for playoff baseball. But until then, there are still some playoff implications as we wrap up our show with our Wet Hot American Weekend. We talked a little bit about Cubs at Cincinnati. Reds got game 1 yesterday on Thursday. But listen, we got Imanaga tonight. We got Saturday matchup and then a 4-game conclusion. Tyone and Andrew Abbott, which I think is interesting. Tyone deepens this staff. I could respect Jameson, and Abbott's been very freaking good all year. He did make an all-star team. So I think there's some good pitching matchups here. We expect the Cubs to take care of business.
Yeah, I expect the Cubs to take it. It's pretty simple. And if they want to, compete for they're clinched. They want to compete a little bit longer. They have to because Milwaukee's got St. Louis, Mizrowski, Patrick, and Peralta versus Gray, Michaelis, and Liberatore. So, I think Chicago takes care of business, as do I think Milwaukee also takes care of business for the Central.
Yeah, and this is a 4-game series. Reds took the first one. Now, the Reds are 2 games back, so they have a little more reason to really want to kick ass, where the Cubs can kind of play reverse spoiler. Usually spoiler's like a bad team trying to eliminate a good team or keep a good team like without clinching. The Cubs are a good team that might try to play spoiler to a mediocre at best Reds team, 1 game above 500, 2 games back from a wild card spot. Cardinals, who gives a shit about, right? So Milwaukee has to take care of. But Mizrowski and Sonny Gray, a little maybe a fun matchup tonight. Chad Patrick's a dog. We'll see him, and we'll see Freddie on Sunday, like you said. And Freddie's competing for the most wins. He has the most wins in the National League. He's competing with Max Fried for the most wins in baseball. They have a chance to do that. in the Lou. What's going on in the East?
We
Mets
got
are at home.
we got
Ooh.
Mets at home. Washington going to shitty field. Alvarez versus Sproat. Cavalli versus McLean and Mitchell Parker versus Clay Holmes. But then in the Philly aspect, got a lot better of a series. Arizona looking to clinch 2 games back right now. Philly obviously is clinched already. Got Taiwan Walker versus Ryan Reina Nelson tonight. Nola versus Gallen on Saturday. Very two similar pitchers. Extremely similar pitchers, actually. Gallen is just a young Nola in my eyes, if I'm being honest. Sunday, you got Ranger versus Eduardo Rodriguez. I want to say Phillies go to the desert and like put the nail in the coffin because I still have a little animosity towards the Diamondbacks for what they did to us back in the day. I would love to see Phillies crush the hopes and dreams of every single stupid little fucking Diamondbacks fan.
True.
So I would love that, but we'll see. I think Philly wins 2 out of 3 here. They're still competing for the bye. They want to compete for the bye. So maybe they can solidify it by taking away the Arizona Diamondbacks dreams.
Yeah, that's true. They look like they look pretty good with the bye when they won that Dodgers series, but still, Dodgers have 86 wins, Phillies have 91. You know, you never want to take anything for granted. You got to bear down and play hard to the finish line.
Exactly.
And also, you want to have momentum entering the playoffs. So I think Taiwan versus Ryan Nelson. That's cool. And like you said, with Nola and Gallen, both guys that have been good in the past at their best. They get Cy Young votes, but a little bit of lack of consistency, to put it mildly. And then a battle of the lefties on Sunday, and you got to favor Ranger over Erod, where the Mets are at home. Phillies in the desert, a little bit of revenge game there. The Mets might be waking up a little bit, and the Mets have the more favorable matchup. And it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but for the Mets, it does matter for if they can hold on to that 6th seed here.
Especially because the Reds, who are in the back too, have the Cubs, and Arizona's got the harder matchup in the Phillies, and those are the 2 teams behind them right now because the Giants, screwed themselves basically.
Yeah, they're not terrible. They're 3 games back. They're 1 game under 500, but it doesn't look pretty. But also, what doesn't look pretty, they have the Dodgers at Chavez.
Exactly. So I mean, we'll jump right into them. They played last night. Dodgers won. Yamamoto got the better of Webb, and I'm pretty sure it was a pretty good pitching duel, wasn't it?
I didn't see it was a late night game past my bedtime, but good battle nonetheless. Webb versus Yamamoto, battle of the aces.
Yeah. Then we got Robbie Ray versus Kershaw tonight. Another good one.
On
Kershaw
Apple TV. Kershaw could be Kershaw's last start at home.
Yeah.
It was on Apple TV.
Great job, MLB. But then Kaiwei Tang versus Tyler Glasnow, and then TBD versus Emmett Sheehan. Sucks for the Giants that they got to play the Dodgers this late in the year, but it has to. They love putting these division teams at the end. Dodgers take care of business and crush the Giants' hopes and dreams, I would say.
This probably will be the end on the road. Wow, this will be probably really good chance it's Kershaw's last start at home.
So there's no way they lose that.
But Robbie Ray, a little battle of the lefties. Both were all-stars this year. Robbie Ray and former Cy Youngs. Don't forget, Robbie Ray was a Cy Young. And Clayton. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't know this Kaiwei Tang guy, but Glasnow, listen, they can roll out some guys. And you talked about it before, like Kershaw 37, and it's like, okay, he made the all-star team because he was like the Legends vote or whatever the fuck it is. But he's still doing it, and the team rallies around him. So I say it's like 10-2. The team wins, and guess what? If the team wins, the pitcher's going to win. San Diego, though, right there. I don't hate Cease in this matchup because it is the White Sox. I know they're on the road, but I think it's a good opportunity for Cease to get back to something or try to figure something out because they're going to need him down the line. Same with Darvish. Figure something out. Don't know if they have a clear-cut number 3 starter. Michael King is back and pitching, I guess, up and down. I don't know. Injuries have kind of hurt him, but another good opportunity for him to kind of get to, the swing of things after some injuries. When he's good, he's great. We know Pavetta's really good. Who's the game 3 starter? Maybe that can establish itself over these next few outings because Cease probably has 2 more outings. Darvish probably has 2 more. Who's going to be that guy? I don't know. But interesting stuff and a little favorable matchup for the Padres. Did you talk about that? How the standings look in the West because the Padres on the road, but they have the better matchup.
Yeah, it's Padres. It's Padres on the road. They're 3 games out, I think, of the Dodgers right now. 4 games up. What's up?
Go ahead.
It is 3 games.
3 games out.
Yeah, so 4 games up in the wild card, 3 games down from the Dodgers. The Padres have the favorable matchup, but I would say the Dodgers even have a favorable matchup against the Giants because the Giants just haven't been playing too well as of late.
Yeah, the division rivals though, and they know if they could
Yeah.
really make a stink, if they could really make a stink here, this could actually be make or break for the Giants.
Listen, yeah, we've been hoping for this. Like we want excitement at the end of the year. We won it, and I'm just looking at these matchups, and I'm thinking we're not going to get it. In all honesty, but who knows? We could see the Snakes maybe sweep the Phillies. Maybe the
No,
Mets lose. They're
I
not
don't see
gonna.
us.
They're not
I don't
gonna.
see us.
They're not gonna. But
Um,
AL, I think, is where going to be all the excitement at because you got New York going to Baltimore. We already talked about Max Fried last night, but now you got Will Warren, Trevor Rogers tonight, which we alluded to. Rodon, Sugano, or Bradish, and then Toronto. We talked about it earlier too. Kansas City. Toronto's got Scherzer versus Lorenzen, Bieber versus Cameron, and Berrios versus Waka. I think the Yankees take care of business pretty handily with Baltimore. Maybe Rogers gets the best of you tonight, but watch your guys go and pitch for you on Saturday, Sunday. I think you guys do well. Then you got Toronto. Listen, Kansas City has been doing great. They're definitely a better opponent than the Orioles, but I still think Toronto takes care of business. Where I think it gets really interesting is the third AL East matchup that we haven't talked about yet. Boston and Tampa Bay. You got Crochet and Rasmussen going tonight. Sneaky pitching duel because Rasmussen has been under people's radar. Not yours though, Spin.
we love him.
Kyle Harrison versus Adrian Hauser, and then Connolly Early versus Ryan Pepio. Tampa Bay can play spoiler against Boston here. And we'll talk. I mean, I'll let you say your piece because then once we talk about this Boston series, we're also going to have to talk about the Guardians series.
Yeah, so because if Tampa Bay does play, and I think Boston might have just did they lose the series at home against the A's?
They did. They did. They lost 2 out of 3.
Nice. So that's what we love to see, and it also allows the Yankees to kind of gain a little bit of ground because that was a little close between the 2-3 in that division. But yeah, I love that. Now Crochet versus Rasmussen, the battle of the aces. Rasmussen, low key dude, like you said, but he can shove, and Tampa Bay is the home team. You know they're not home, but they're home. Hauser's been a stud, though. I think he can shove for you. I like him more than like Kyle freaking Harrison, who they got in that Devers trade. And then Connolly Early's been good. He's been good, but Ryan Pepio can shove too. So I agree with you. Tampa Bay can certainly play spoiler here. I think all eyes on the. We talked about it already. Like Yankees might have a better matchup, more favorable, where Toronto has a scrappy Kansas City team. I think Yankees can take 2 out of 3. 3 out of 4 from Baltimore. Toronto, we'll see what they do in Kansas City. Let's go Royals. We can play a little spoiler because they're like 7 out now. But either way, I think Tampa Bay could also play spoiler. And if that is the case, then let's go to Cleveland, who was in Minnesota. And that is a pretty good matchup for Cleveland. Their pitching has been hot.
Yeah, so all these guys, Parker Messick, Logan Allen, Slade Ciccone, Joey Cantillo, are all guys I would have said last, or like maybe even last week. I would have said last week and been like, this is a wash. This series sucks. But guess what? These guys all have under 2 ERAs. They've been pitching out of their
in their last like month,
month
or whatever.
So like they've been pitching out off their ass. So like them going up against Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan, this might be great baseball. In all honesty,
yeah.
And I would have never said that a week ago. I would have never said that. And then Bailey over Simeon Woods Richardson. Boston's got the harder matchup, Spin.
Yeah, they do.
Boston's got the harder. I
pitched his dick off against the Yankees his last outing, so he did look good. And then you talk about all the Cleveland guys who also look good. Maybe there's some decent guys like Semien has actually cleaned up his game in his last few starts. His last outing was against the Yankees at home, 6 scoreless innings, 11 strikeouts. That's the outing he's coming off of. So again, and you talk about all the guys on Cleveland staff. There could be some things here. There could be some things, which is
so
weird.
We'll see. I think Cleveland, Minnesota is going to be a toss-up because they have Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan go on the opposite side. And it's also going to – I'm not going to write off Tampa Bay either against Boston. So come Monday, it might look a little bit different. It might be even closer, but I don't know if the Guardians push themselves in. But I don't think Boston falls out yet. But it might come down to like they're either tied or like a half game. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, so Cleveland and Minnesota is a doubleheader on Saturday. The first game of the doubleheader is Logan Allen, Joe Ryan. It's a battle of the men with 2 first names.
Yeah.
Logan Allen, Joe Ryan. It sounds like a boy band. But there's some good contributors there. I know Slade Cicconi's last few. You talked about Cleveland in those numbers, which is insane. I don't know if it's going to be enough to overtake Detroit because Detroit is home with Atlanta coming to town.
Yeah.
Maybe we see some good out in pitching matchups. Maybe we don't. Strider and Mize on Sunday. Do we care about that? I don't know. I think Detroit's in good hands with whoever they're throwing out. I think they're going to be doing just fine. I think Cleveland, as we said, it's more so looking at Boston, who has a feisty little Tampa Bay team. And Tampa Bay is going to say, hey, if we can't make the playoffs, we don't want another team in our division making the fucking playoffs. So, we want to beat up on you. And then maybe Cleveland sneaks in, which would be crazy. They have a 4-game series, 2 on Saturday, Cleveland, that is. And then I don't know if we care about this, Miami at Texas. Do we care? I don't think.
I don't think so, unless this is the only way we care, is if Seattle or Houston, one of them sweeps. That's the only way we care about Texas, because Texas could take 2 out of 3 against Miami and then gain ground on a guy like Seattle or Houston. But I don't.
There's no. And Miami's been a good spoiler as of late, and Texas hasn't given you any reason to really believe in them at all. Tyler Motley goes tonight for the first time in a long time. That's the only reason I'd even bring them up. Other than that, I'm out on Texas. Fuck them.
Yeah.
It's so weird how things change. Everyone wanted Texas, and we were out on Cleveland, and now look how the tables have turned. But everyone we're high on ends up falling anyway, so maybe this is a good time to believe in Cleveland, because guess what? Well, no, I'm rooting for them over Boston, so I gotta still be a Cleveland. Even though that dude in the comment section, he's onto something. That Cleveland fan.
You're lucky that he the only team he's going against is Boston, because that could be the only way they would sway you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's our wet hot American weekend spin.
A lot of playoff implications this weekend. Seattle, Houston could be the thing to watch, and then I think. Who's that 6th seed in the AL? Who's that 6th seed? This is when it gets real. This is when it gets dicey. It's when it gets juicy.
And maybe the Mets will Met. Who knows? Probably not, but who knows? Maybe the Mets will Met.
That's another thing. So let's root for the Mets to stink. If they lose a series against Washington, whoa. But I think the Mets, their dark times are over. I think
they're past. They're past it.
Yeah, they got through it, and they got through it. I shouldn't say unscathed, but unscathed in the sense of no one took it from them when they stunk.
Somebody should have, but they got a little bit of luck on their side. I'll say that.
Yeah, and they're cheating at Citi Field.
Yep.
That's it for us. We'll revisit, I guess, all this shit on Monday. See how the standings fluctuate, if at all. Definitely in the AL West. That'll be fun to watch. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sean and Spin in the Morning. We are out.